Hey friends, it's Tasha, the Bitchin' Dietitian. I'm here to show you that counting carbs does not have to be that hard. Today I am making a garlicky chicken dinner. This recipe comes from Taste of Home, which is one of my favorite websites. I have made a lot of recipes from there and I loved every single one of them. The good thing about using recipes from online is most of them already have the nutrition information, so it makes it nice and easy to count the carbs. So let's do it. First, I'm going to preheat the oven to 425 degrees. This recipe calls for 1.25 pounds of red potatoes quartered. I actually prefer sweet potatoes over white potatoes or red potatoes, and pretty much anytime a recipe calls for another kind of potato, I use sweet potato instead. So you can do whatever works for you. So I'm going to peel it and chop it up. I have a compost pile, so I'm going to save all my potato skins to put in there. So this recipe gives us the nutrition information, so we don't have to do any carb calculating on our own, but of course it's still very good to know which foods have carbs and which ones don't. Sweet potatoes, in fact, do have carbs. A sweet potato the size of a computer mouse is about 15 grams of carbs. So, how many, is it computer mouses or computer mice? I don't know. But how many of these do you think go in here? I'm thinking maybe 4. So I think this whole sweet potato would probably be about 60 grams of carbs. So again, the recipe calls for red potatoes and it says to quarter them. I'm using a sweet potato and I like to cut mine kind of small because I want to make sure they cook faster so they're nice and tender when we're done. All right, my potatoes are all chopped up. Now I'm going to put them in. So rude. Oh no, who's in my kitchen? This recipe calls for 4 medium carrots cut into 1/2-inch slices. I actually have some baby carrots that are kind of reaching their expiration. So I am going to throw these right in there. Because I don't feel like they need to be sliced up. Next, the recipe calls for 1 medium red onion cut into thin wedges. See this onion? I feel like it's the shape of a heart, right? Dum, 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 dum. So it's kind of weird. It looks different than a regular onion. Kind of makes it easier to cut into wedges, I think. Okay, now my onion wedges are going in the bowl. Next is a tablespoon of olive oil. Olive oil does not have any carbs. Also, I forgot to talk about the carrots and the onions. The onions do not have any carbs. Carrots have a little more carbs than normal non-starchy vegetables, but they're still on the non-starchy list. They do not have as many carbs as corn or peas or potatoes. Next, the recipe calls for 6 garlic cloves minced. I go the easy and lazy way and buy it in a jar. So next, the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme. I do not have fresh thyme. I have it like this, but I like a lot of seasoning. So even though it's more concentrated, I'm still going to put 1 teaspoon. And herbs do not have any carbs. Next is 3/4 teaspoons of salt. No carbs in salt. And a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. No carbs in pepper. All right, now I'm going to toss it all up to coat all my vegetables. right, it's all mixed up. Okay, now we're gonna mix up some seasoning to put on top of the chicken. 1 teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of thyme, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of pepper. All right, so my bowl for my spices is probably a little too big, but that's okay. Got them all mixed up. Looks great. Now I got my baking sheet. I'll coat it with some cooking spray. I'll put my vegetables on here. Spread them out nice and even. All right, this looks great, but I like a little more onions with this. And onions don't have carbs, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop up another one and add it in here. Oh yeah, looks a lot better, a lot more onions. All right, now I'm gonna arrange my chicken over my vegetables. And of course, chicken does not have carbs. Oh, here's Muffin. Hey, Muffin. What's up? What brings you in here?
I want some cucumbers.
Okay, I'll cut you up a cucumber in just a second.
Okay.
All right, now I got my chicken on my pan and I'm gonna sprinkle my spices on top. All right, now the next step of the recipe is to top my chicken with lemon slices. All right, it's all ready. Now it's gonna go in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. Time for a little wine. Okay, so I told Muffin I would slice him a cucumber, so I better get to it while my chicken's cooking. Muffin!
He doesn't know how to use his back legs. Don't eat that. He's so cute, my baby.
How is it?
Yeah.
Don't talk with your mouth full. Are you going to eat the whole thing?
Lunchy.
If you're a guinea pig counting carbs, eating cucumbers, they do not have carbs. All right, the chicken is out of the oven and it looks amazing. So I am going to remove the chicken and put it on a separate platter. Okay, next the recipe says to top the vegetables with 5 ounces of spinach, but I actually have 10 ounces of spinach here, and spinach does not have carbs, so I'm just going to put the whole bag of spinach on here. Whoa. Now this is a big giant pile of spinach, but it's all going to cook down, I promise. Okay, so after you add the spinach on top, the recipe says to bake it for another 8 to 10 minutes until the spinach is wilted. I'm about halfway through, and I'm going to go ahead and stir it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm putting it back in for a few more minutes. All right, it's all done, and it looks amazing. I'm going to stir it all up a little bit more to mix my spinach in. Now remember, 1 piece of chicken and a cup of these vegetables is about 18 grams of carbs. Make sure you check with your diabetes educator to find out how many carbs you should be eating at each meal and each snack. I've made this recipe several times in the past, and the name is not kidding. It is a garlicky chicken dinner. So if you love garlic or if you need to ward off vampires, this is the recipe for you. Okay, now it's time for the ultimate test. Let's see what Petey thinks. You ready, Pete? You ready to try it? Here we go. Okay. Up. Yeah, looks like the spinach is a no. Okay, the onion, yep, chicken. I didn't even see him eat that. What about, okay, all right. Oh, a little piece of spinach. Sweet potato, the carrots. Pretty sure he had 2 pieces of spinach. All right, it's official. Petey likes it, and I hope you do too. See you next time.